Warrior, I want to talk to you about a very disturbing case and what it really means because I've had a few days now to really think about this. And this is this house of horrors that we heard this horrendous story come out of Ohio with the Siders family. We had Gary Jr., the father, 36, I believe, with his wife Elizabeth, 33, and Gary Sider Jr., his parents, four adults living in a house where authorities found, law enforcement found, 16 children living in one room. Now, I want to go a little deeper into this story because so many people are saying, oh, how could this happen? How could no one notice? Apparently, authorities are saying, and they've been arrested, and they have felony charges, the four of them, but they lived in a very rural area in Ohio, right? The children, apparently, according to law enforcement, were not enrolled in school. Filthy, beyond filthy conditions. The oldest, 18, could not write her name. A couple of the children had to be airlifted to trauma centers. All kinds of bugs and dirt. Just deplorable conditions. But I want to get back to how could this happen? First of all, let's talk about extreme poverty. They're living in rural Ohio. You've seen pictures perhaps of the house, on the side of some back end road that nobody's really traveling, with a bunch of bicycles thrown in heaps and garbage and things like that. I mean, who's going to really know what's going on in that house? So that we will call this poverty. That's number one. Number two, America does not want to ever get involved in all of that's kind of the bottom line here. America does not want to get involved in these stories. We always say if you see something, report it. If you see something, say something. Most people do not want to do it. Somebody along the line, including child welfare, and the case is still murky and under investigation, and they're only hospitals. And it's really reported that Elizabeth, now at age 33, had 20 children, but some of them died, which means she got married in 2009 at the age of 15. That's where I want to go with this story. She was living, I believe, in Georgia, 15, and the boyfriend, now husband, Gary Siders Jr., was 18, and they went from Georgia, is 17, with some parental conditions and sign, a parent signing you. So they went to West Virginia where things are much more lax, okay? This goes into that whole thing of child brides, okay? I can't believe any young woman is going to want 20 children. That means she is pregnant nonstop since she got married in 2009. She gave birth, according to reports, shortly after they were married in 2009. She had a couple of sets of twins. This seems like what we've talked about extensively here on The Warriors. This conditioning, this psychological damage, why we fight for child brides. We always say 18, no exceptions. Now, surely, she could have married this guy at 18 and we would have this same situation. We rarely hear stories where authorities find a house full of 16 kids, according to them, locked in a room. Kids can't talk, kids can't walk. They said like feral animals. They never saw anything like this. They're shaking their heads. Again, the story is murky. They were there with a search warrant about another issue and stumbled upon the kids. Okay, now the issues reportedly, we don't know if this is what it is, but there is a record for the 36-year-old Gary Siders Jr. that we think is the father of all these kids. We don't really know. Living with his parents. Maybe his father is the father of some of these kids. We do not know. His mother looks a little bit too old to be the mother of these kids, but we don't know. We don't know indeed if all these kids are really their kids. Warrior, I want to talk. And in May, there were 4 different reports of this 36-year-old indecent exposure. So they went to the house about that, maybe, right? And then they found 16 kids, including airlifting, kids who can't talk, kids who some couldn't walk, all kinds of horror. Now we have her side of the family, the mother, Elizabeth Siders. They're all in jail right now. And of course, I just saw an attorney. I was watching something and he representing one of them. And he's like, well, we don't have proof they were locked in a room. You know, I don't think a bunch of law enforcement, these men in suits were really lying when they just look at their faces when they were giving a press conference and they're saying how horrifying this was and they never saw anything like it. And, but the point of this whole story is a couple of points is they were in a rural area. So who's really looking for them, right? Everybody's minding their own business. The system failed them. Child welfare. We know, I know, around this country, we have heard complaints our whole lives about foster care, about group homes, about child welfare, and the argument always being, well, they're overworked, they're underpaid, we don't have enough. Somebody messed up here. I find it hard to believe, 16 children alive, 4 reportedly dead, that I guess they were never to a pediatrician. They were never to a hospital. They were never anywhere, these kids. I guess nobody ever saw them. So the system itself failed them. The system itself, and I am in no way making any excuse for this 33-year-old Elizabeth Siders. But I'm going to say child bride. She was conditioned. She herself victim. She herself psychologically damaged. A 15-year-old. His parents living with them, it's almost like cult-like, it seems to me. But the children ranged in age from 18 months to 18 years old, which means she's continually, this woman, having a baby. It's like having a baby every single year. How could her body even take this? So I want us to just think a little bit about the issue. Let's get back on child brides. It should be 18, no exceptions. Again, we could have had the same situation with that. But allowing, going over state lines to marry a 15-year-old. Sorry, 15-year-old should not be allowed to get married, right? You're not allowed to enter into a contract until you're 18. Why should you be allowed to enter into a marriage? And most of the child brides, the victims we have spoken to, now adult women, will say they don't even know what happened to them, and before they knew it, they were pregnant with 1 child, 2 child, 3 children, and then that was all before they were 18, and they couldn't leave if they even realized this was an abuser because they had nowhere to go. Certainly, shelters don't take you in under 18 with babies. So the system failed Elizabeth Siders. I think we should be looking at that. Society failed these children, welfare agencies. I think we should use this case. There should be a lot more talk about this, a lot more awareness about this. But you may say, what do you do if you see something like this? Because I'm telling you that how child welfare fails, right? I've actually even heard child welfare say things like, well, it's better to keep the family together than rip them apart because nobody's going to take 16 kids. And I've heard that for like 3 kids in a family. Well, it's better they just stay where they are and we'll keep checking on them. So I think the thing to do, we're going to stay on course. Any type of anything with a child, you report to your local 911. And also, always keep in mind, everybody, your local FBI office. It is a wonderful resource in helping. A lot of people say, I may be wrong, I may be held responsible, but I'm here to say better to be, if you file some kind of report, like I see 10 bicycles thrown on a front lawn, I never see anybody come out of the house. Things like that. So there is a part of me that says Elizabeth Siders, her maiden name was Russell. Her family members now are saying they tried to reach out to her and all these different things, and she was influenced by a very bad young man, 3 years older at the time. But again, it goes back to that issue of she was allowed to get married at 15 in West Virginia. Who knows what would have happened if she could never get married. Maybe none of this would have ever happened, right? So we have to look at the big picture of all of this. But let's say, God bless these children. Some of them have been put in foster homes already. Some are still in the hospital. Again, reportedly, they're not able to read and write, and they're in very bad shape and malnourished and filthy dirty, found in a room of feces and bugs. And obviously, this This is horrific. So we've got 16 children now. Think about them for the rest of their lives. This is trauma for the rest of their lives. That we got to talk more about this. Let's talk about the child bride issue. 18 no exceptions. That would at least intervene and hold off a little bit situations like this, perhaps. Let's talk about if you see something, say something. Local 911 and also your local FBI office, which is 1-800-CALL-FBI. And let's, we're all online. Let's, once I post this video, because this story has gotten a good amount, a fair amount of coverage, but let's look at the bigger picture, not just House of Horrors, which that doesn't even seem fitting for this. It seems like House of I don't know what. That we share it on our social media platforms, and we make people aware. If you see something, say something. Because even though I'm in New York City, there are apartments here where kids are getting abused, or kids are left alone, or kids. I see so many stories on a daily basis. The moms wanted to go out and have a drink. The moms wanted to go out with their girlfriends. They leave the kids sleeping in the apartment. Fires start. Kids fall out of windows. What are we doing in 2026? Our precious kids on everything are being, there is a war on for our children. So to these Siders children, let's all say a prayer for them, light a candle for them, 16 of them, and hope that they can overcome eventually this trauma, which will be with them for their lives. Hopefully, somehow they can remain intact. And hopefully, we in America, we pride ourselves, best country in the world, strongest country in the world. Really? But somehow in rural Ohio, we had 16 children locked in a room, filthy, dirty, suffering like hell. America's got to do better. We have to do better. Remember, community creates change. Please follow lynswarriors.org. Please share this video. Please like. Please subscribe to our channel. Please, every day, let's just do something. Because all of this is happening right here in your neighborhood. Remember, when you wake up each and every day, what do I like to say to you? Go out and be a warrior.